INEC extends voters' registration exercise ahead of the Anambra polls by 3 days. Experts advocate more efforts to ensure political inclusion for persons with disabilities. Plus, summit gives pointers on key issues in the nation's journey of constitutional democracy. We have inputs on this. We have this and more on the program. I'm Fisayo Gunfui. Welcome. Political inclusion is a fundamental right, and the active participation of persons with disabilities in the democratic process is essential. In Nigeria, persons with disabilities represent a significant portion of the population, yet they often face systemic barriers that hinder their full participation in electoral processes. A political inclusion index tool has evaluated the level of disability inclusivity by INEC, political parties, media and security institutions for the role they play in the electioneering process.
The conversation here centers on political inclusion for persons with disabilities.
Our interest is in you making sure that persons with disability takes their leadership role within the political party.
The political index tool by TAF Africa is being assessed by key political and disability stakeholders to ensure compliance with Nigeria's Electoral Act and other provisions of inclusive practices and policies.
The participation, active participation of people with disability in the highest level of policy making in the country is an essential step that needs to be taken.
The Political Party Inclusion Index is a valuable tool that will help us track progress, identify gaps, and deepen accountability across party structures.
The findings also indicate that INEC and other key institutions have made significant improvements. However, gaps remain in ensuring electoral accessibility.
We have an important update on the race to Government House, Awka, because Thursday, the 17th of July, was expected to be the last day for the continuous voters registration exercise CVR in Anambra State ahead of the November 8th governorship election. However, following appeals, INEC has extended the exercise to Sunday, July 20. Statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Sam Olumekun, urges eligible voters to take advantage of the extension as there will be no further consideration on this. At the end of the exercise on Sunday, the Commission will display the register for claims and objections. For emphasis, the continuous voters registration exercise for Anambra governorship election will end on Sunday, July 20, 2025. Meanwhile, INEC says it has received 5 more letters of intent from associations seeking registration as political parties. This brings the number received so far to 134. The National Summit on the Future of Nigeria's Constitutional Democracy has ended in Abuja with far-reaching resolutions on the need for true federalism. The theme of the summit is actualizing constitutional democracy that works for all Nigerians.
The summit, which opened in Abuja this Wednesday, was convened by the eminent patriots in collaboration with the Nigerian Political Summit Group, led by former Commonwealth Secretary General Chief Emeka Anyoku and co-chaired by Senators Gbenga Daniel and Aminu Waziri Tambuwal. It seeks to replace the existing 1999 constitution with a new and people-driven framework that reflects Nigeria's diversity, aspirations and federal character. After turn-by-turn presentations on the diversity of various geopolitical zones, the time for adoption of resolutions came but went into disagreement. Leader of the summit, Chief Emeka Anyoku, thereafter called for a break to restore decorum.
We tend to take 2 steps at a time, believe me, we will be shut down. No. That's my position.
This summit would have been wasted if we do not put forward our proposal for a better re-engineered Nigeria.
This summit should conclude on a very positive note.
Upon resumption, adoption of proposals resumed.
The summit calls for an immediate constitutional framework that will return Nigeria to a truly federal system of government where the federating units will enjoy their autonomy as obtained in the First Republic and other genuine democracies of the world.
Why are we agreeing on a constitution? So that every group of people within the nation should feel safe, feel, protected, preserved, within the country. So what you are seeing in this hall now is that we are debating the resolutions of the conference. We expected it to be very rancorous because those resolutions, every group is going to say, no, we didn't agree, no, this is what we want. That is the part of the dialogue that leads to democratic agreements.
A draft legislative bill for a new constitution of Nigeria is expected to be presented to the Presidency and National Assembly.
As you saw in that clip, in the past few days, some eminent Nigerians under the auspices of the Patriots, in partnership with the Nigerian Political Summit Group, have been generating ideas on the direction of the country and have come forward with some proposals intended to shape the future of our constitutional democracy. We are being joined now by Dr. Abdul Tafawa Balewa, a member of the Patriots. Thank you for joining us on Political Update.
Thank you for having me.
Your event had quite an impressive roll call of Nigerians of high standing. Was the summit able to reach some form of consensus? We saw a little bit of a rancorous session just now, and in terms of some key interventions proposed for inputs in the Constitution, or perhaps completely tearing it up and starting afresh.
No, not at all. If two relatives are locked in a room and they come out smiling, they have not discussed anything. So you expect a very vibrant discussion. And we come up with some very, very interesting ideas. We're not looking for amendments to the present constitution. This present constitution is seen as rotten. It was given to us by the military, and it just does not serve a federal republic like ours. So we're suggesting that we have a totally new constitution. Our constitution is based on the American constitution, but we need to understand how they came about. The very first constitution may be the Ten Commandments, and then you end up with the Bill of Rights in 1066, and then all the other democratic children of those particular papers came around. The American Constitution of 1766 came from immigrants in Europe who were disenfranchised. And then later on, you had so many other parts of the world joining them. It wasn't until 1968, with the population of blacks in the United States, before they can vote. Look at 1766 and 1968. So and that's because their constitution suited them, suited the white people that wrote that constitution initially. Our constitution, in more recent times, have been a potpourri of not so smart ideas. And all we want is for everyone to be able to point to to Nigeria and know it belongs to them. That nobody should feel better belong than any other person.
All right. We saw some, sessions that were quite, so we saw a little bit of some crossfire there in terms of some of the proposals that were being espoused at the place. What were the thorny issues for you to get to perhaps a communique, or could you call it a consensus, or whatever it is at the end of the summit?
Right. We didn't finish reading our recommendations, and some people
decided it should be a communique. Some other people thought it should be a resolution. If it's a if something is resolute, it meant that the entire group of people have reached a decision of what we're discussing. But these are recommendations. They're not. They're broad brushes, suggestions to the government of the day of what we think Nigerians need. And most of the parts of the present constitution does not avail them a lot of the ideas we come up with.
We saw perhaps when we look at the roll call, or at least of people who were part of this summit, so many faces that one could easily reel off just by mere visual recognition. The Michael Zegomis of this world, Baba Emeka Nyoku as well, all of you are in one room. But did you think about the issue of perhaps legislative participation? For instance, to get a buy-in on the concepts that you have distilled in that summit.
That's the main difference between what the Patriots are doing as opposed to what has been done in the past. The Patriots are, made these recommendations and are imploring the legislature to take a look at it, make a bill where we can refurbish our thoughts, our ownership of the ownership of our country in different ways from how the military saw it. It was quite a collegiate affair.
All right, let's look at all this now. Has it been on in terms of the discussion to have this summit? Has it been on for a while? What was the gestation period like before some of these concepts were brought forward? And in terms of concepts and actuality, is it one-off or it has been an exhaustive summit?
It's very exhaustive. I was watching the television this morning and saw Senator Ned Nwoko saying they were going to go into different parts of the country. We thoroughly combed this country. Each zone had several town meetings, states did also, and then we invited from each zone with their own coordinators to bring in youth, people in the policing services, women's organizations, religious organizations, because we have such a wide array of dialectical religions in Nigeria. We invited everyone. You should have seen the hall. Everything was discussed in very intellectual and collegiate environment.
All right, let me see if I can bring in one of our public affairs analysts who've been trying to get him at the beginning of the program, Jide Ojo. Jide Ojo joins us via Zoom. Jide Ojo, you've been watching, at least been monitoring what has been happening in the summit in terms of the proposals being sent forward by the Patriots. They've, according to their submissions, taking an exhaustive look at what is on ground and perhaps putting forward new ideas to guide and shape Nigeria's journey henceforth. What are your interventions at this time as we near the close of the program?
Well, thank you, Fisayo. I think we should commend the Patriots for standing fast. They've been very steadfast in proffering solutions to the myriads of leadership challenges in this country. And they are proposing a new constitution. However, my worry about what the Patriot is doing is that it's coming a bit late. Preparation for the next election is afloat. But this time next year, primaries and all of that will have happened. National Assembly is well in advance of amending the Constitution. And if you are asking that all of that be jettisoned and then we should change direction and move from presidential system to parliamentary system, it then means that for all of these things to work through, you may have to put 2027 election in abeyance. in order to get, that's if there is a buy-in of the presidency and then the leadership of the National Assembly. It may take, because the process of constitutional, betting a new constitution is very tedious. They are also calling for not just change of change of political system. They are also calling for a referendum, that there will be a constituent assembly, there will be a referendum, then there will be a new constitution, and then before it becomes operational. We are barely 1 year to the next election. I'm just looking at that. If this had come up last year, although they did say they met with President Bola Tinubu last year, and he said, well, they should give him some time to think it through. But coming around this time, when the National Assembly has spent billions of naira in constitutional amendment exercise, and also when the preparation for the next round of elections seems to be in earnest, this may not actually work out, and may just be another beautiful ideas on the shelf of the presidency when it's eventually submitted. So that's just the grasp I have. And I do hope, very brilliant ideas. You want so many resource control. You want parliamentary system of government. You want lingering issue of leadership. I mean, separating office of accountant general. I mean, auditor general, the office of attorney general from that of minister of justice. These have been an issue that have been on long before now, but it doesn't seem to get nationwide applause or approval for all of this to happen. So they may need to do a lot more groundwork, maybe after 2027 election, and then before we get consumed with the election of 2031. If by maybe towards the end of 2027 or early in 2028, this may be a very, very good idea that could be considered by the administration. But right now, I do not see how they intend to get this through with the National Assembly and the presidency.
About the timelines, Jide just raised some issues. What about the timelines?
I need to talk to some of the points that he brought up. One, the timeline, we're not rewriting a constitution. We're recommending that a group need to be set up representing very small parts of the country that are chosen by their own people. That is one. Secondly, we're not proposing parliamentary system of governance or the bicameral American type of democracy. What we said was that this type of federal democracy is too expensive. And you can see with 109 senators and over 300 congressmen, I mean state reps, and their needs, their staff, all the emoluments, too expensive for the system. And we thought that the parliamentary system of governance can be looked into. There seemed to be a lot more calm in our environment during that time. That is true. I just wanted to clear this.
Yeah, Doc, I don't think we can, just like it happened in your summit, a lot of questions and answers and loud voices as well. I'm not sure we will be able to exhaust, some of the opinions today. But we want to thank you for coming, Doctor. And hopefully, if there are updates in terms of, some of the recommendations you have made and some of the interactions you're having with the National Assembly as well as the executive powers will also bring you back for more enlightenment as far as the proposals are concerned. I'll keep Jide Ojo on for just a moment. We've seen some cross-carpeting again, some of the big fishes from PDP crossing to the new ADC. Jide, we've not spoken since that happened. What are your thoughts at this time?
Well, Fisara, it's not new. It's not something that should amaze anybody. Ahead of every general election, there's always alignment and realignment of forces. right from the beginning of this from the beginning of this Fourth Republic, rather, way back in 2003, we saw the emergence of Action Congress from the old ashes of Alliance for Democracy. We have Action Congress. Then later we have Action Congress of Nigeria. Then later in 2007, we have Muhammadu Buhari floating CPC, Congress for Progressive Change. Then, of course, we have had merger, we have had working alliances, and ADC, which seems to be the new bride now, has been in existence since 2005 when it was registered. So it's a party of 20 years old. But because of alignment of interest, we now see a kind of pilgrimage into ADC. But again, it reminds us that this is not the first time ADC has been adopted as a game changer, as a third force. It did happen in 2019 when former President Olusegun Obasanjo touted it as the game changer. But we saw that it was of no moment at that time. Then in 2023, we saw two new parties that gained strength, NMPP in Kano and then the Labour Party, which also, just like ADC, were there for a very long time before some personality that move into them ginger and make the political parties vibrant. So that's what is happening with ADC. But how they manage their transitional period, because they are now in transition, new people are coming in. By the time they will start to constitute their ward level, local government, state level executive, down to their zonal executive, to the national convention, that's when the first challenge will come. Second challenge will be, will they have the resources to bankroll the running of the party, the party administration? Number three is their presidential nomination. How will it pan out? Atiku has formally resigned from PDP. We have seen Dele Momodu resigning from PDP. We have seen quite a number of other people, including Gabriel Susan, former governor of Benue State, also joining ADC. But when nomination comes, that's when you see the ruffle fight. And how they manage that will determine the vibrancy and how well they can perform in 2027. But also I've warned that APC should not take it for granted. How APC will manage the transition from Ganduje to a new national chairman is very important. And what will happen after the convention of APC in December 2025 will also be a barometer to know whether there will be an implosion within APC that ADC can cash on.
Jide Ojo, our public affairs analyst, and of course our guest for today, Dr. Abdul Jalil Tafawa Balewa, who also came in just after his conference there. I've been sitting in representing Nigerians and putting a lot of thoughts together in our state, of course, in the nation's journey towards even better nationhood. We'll be looking at, of course, how that progresses. Many thanks, gentlemen. I keep on saying about the Nigerian political scene these days. It's always looking like the European football transfer window. And the players are moving from Milan to Real Madrid and all kinds of movements. Thank you very much for being a part of it. We'll be back again on Tuesday. Between now and then, play your politics for the greater good and keep it locked on Africa's largest and finest Nigerian Television Authority, where we give you the very best of news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.